Ibrahimovic, especially first half of the season last year, Tancredi, vital for Fiorentina. When he slowed down, so did the Viola.
Yes, indeed. 5 million euros, approximately what Kalinic was paid, and everybody was, all the other clubs were in buying Fiorentina, because in an historical moment where it is very hard to find a good striker, someone that can secure for you at least 15 goals per season, while Kalinic seemed to be the next big thing, but then I would say denounced all the limits that anyway he has. He's good, but obviously he's nobody like 20 million.
Looking at the bench, and 3 of the expected players that would have looked quite in place in a starting lineup chipped away. Got the Rational and lifted up and over the crossbar, almost buried by Sami Khedira.
Tatarusanu has never been that good with feet, and honestly, it's more the fault of the Fiorentina's defense. If you know that you don't have exactly Manuel Neuer there at the back, and there are 3 Juventus players putting pressure on you, just throw it away. Don't feel ashamed of it.
Well, one of the reasons they don't have a goalkeeper that is good with his feet is because the Brazilian they had last year is now backing up on Juve.
Yeah, Neto decided 2 summers ago, well, last summer, to go to Juventus and to wait for the moment when Buffon will retire. Good luck, Neto, for that.
He's only 38. Could have another decade in front of him based on last year.
Hopefully, let me say it's an Italian, hopefully.
Khedira lifted Alessandro. Dybala does well to shield. Down by Alves, but Juve forced to retreat. Again, Buffon, Marsali, Bonucci, Chiellini. Alves and Alexandro down the flanks with Lemina, Khedira, and Asamoah in support of Dybala and Mandzukic. There's a good look at Marcos Alonso, the Real Madrid youngster, come into his own last season. One of the revelations for Fiorentina. Alves to Khedira, Barca to Real. If you look at the resumes, out wide, Alexandro. A lot of purple in front of him. Chiellini lifting it. Overhead volley to keep it alive. Mandzukic contorting that big frame. Now Bonucci. How vital is it for Juve? Not so much in Serie A, because with players the likes of Rugani available on the bench, and even Lichtsteiner can slide to the inside. But if you want to compete for a Champions League crown, can Juve do it without a Bonucci?
No, they can do it without Bonucci, but I would tell you also without Barzagli, because it's true that Bonucci's skills to start the building up are unmatched. But Barzagli has been the backup for everybody else last season when Bonucci, Chiellini wasn't for part of the season on the pitch, and when Bonucci wasn't that reliable. Barzagli is like just a miracle ongoing. You can't believe that he's getting older, he's getting better than the year before, and consider that a couple of years ago he was on the verge of retiring because of injuries.
Mandzukic inside, past Tomovic. The one just a little late from Asamoah, trying to keep it in play. Alexandro on the far side, 7th minute. It's Fiorentina ball.
It's a bit different this season, because last season when Fiorentina in December came to play at the Juventus stadium, Juventus were already out of their crisis, but Fiorentina were the only one of the very few along the season to put a real threat to Juventus at the Juventus stadium. Now, at least for the first 7 minutes that we are watching, Fiorentina are choked. And look at this.
Again, Ilicic forced backwards, and Fiorentina under pressure. That's something we have to give credit to Max Allegri for. And last year, perhaps, maybe a crowning moment, not just in winning the championship, but the way the season started. Everyone talked about when he stepped in for Conte, well, look at the team that was handed to him. But last year, as we look at Carlos Sanchez on the Fiorentina bench, getting off to an historically poor start, and then to end up bouncing back to win the title running away, a lot of credit to Allegri.
Yeah, there are 2 keys. One technical and one, I would say, psychological key in the change. The technical is when he's swapped from the 4-man defense to the 3 ones, because he understood that was the best option, because the veterans of the teams told him you just feel more comfortable in that way. And on the other side, he never lost the plot. He had never lost the calmness the quietness. He was always looking in control. We don't know if he really was, but he was giving that idea also to his players.
Nice ball, Dybala charging in, but scrambling back in time. Bernardeschi lifted back across the 6, bounces up off the arm of Astori, but unintentional, says the referee. Despite the whistles from the stands, none on the field. Driven into the 6, deflected, bounces off of Tatarusanu. He's got to feel like the duck in a shooting gallery right now with Juventus on fire.
Tatarusanu, so we should call him probably. See, they have one option at Fiorentina that nobody else, or at least very few have. Surely Juventus don't have. That option that I'm talking about is Josip Ilicic, the Slovenian wizard. Now, I know that you have a man crush on Ilicic. I don't want to make it so personal, but he's someone that can really turn around even a situation like this when you are choked in your half. But just the midfield line is staying too back, it's too tight to defense, and it's very hard to come out.
The legacy Chiesa, the son of the legendary Enrico, wearing the 25. Off to Ilicic and back to the back line. Adel finds the Slovenian as Fiorentina. In many ways, it might not seem like much just passing into the midfield, but it's trying to take Juventus off the boil.
Yeah.
Kalinic, the return pass deflected, but then challenging, but Chiellini snuffs it out.
He should stretch a bit more the game. As we said, they are very offensive on the wings. Here there is the replay. It looked like it was a deflection, and maybe they just didn't have the time to realize, not even that they were going to touch the ball. They should stretch more the game. Dani Alves, Alexandro, so offensive. I know it's not easy, but they are leaving space there behind, and it's in those 15-20 meters ahead of Barzagli and Chiellini that Fiorentina can try to do something.
Here's you see Mandzukic, and again another body flying around with Gonzalo Rodriguez in the area. Appeals for a handball, and it does come off the hand, but it would be hard pressed to say that there was any intent.
Yeah, it seemed like he was moving the arm to find the balance, and he was surprised by the deflection. We just must remind that it's all happening in such a short moment, so it's we can discuss and debate. We have the time to do it. Watching replays and replays is not like that on the pitch.
Up to the Spaniard. Alonso chipping it forward. Could be a chance here for Kalinic, but look at Bonucci.
Good luck with that also, but wait.
Buffon under pressure. Not bad for a 38-year-old. Up the line, Rasamoa. Good pressure by Fiorentina. They're going to win it back.
Carlos Sanchez still didn't have a chance to come on pitch. As I said, it's probably the only relevant signing for Fiorentina. If, like today, La Viola would want to line up always something so offensive, maybe it will be very useful. I watched him live at the Copa America last year in Chile, and it was unbelievable. Kind of a small Yaya Touré, even if without the offensive skills of Yaya Touré.
Trying to steal it back. Ilicic screaming at the referee. Won't make a difference, though. Now up the line, Alves. Khedira trying to create some space, but what a tackle by Bedel. And that's one reason why Sanchez starts this match on the bench.
Khedira will have more responsibility in trying to help the attacking, as at least so far. And if there is no more midfield signing from Juventus, there is no Pogba. Vidal was already gone since 1 year, and we know that Khedira, whenever he's getting in the box, is always being painful for the other. So as long as his physical condition is supporting you, he can even find even more goals than in the past season.
Alexandro elects to play it cautiously back to Chiellini. Talk about players moving. Astori rumored perhaps for Arsenal. A lot of talk as well about Rugani, but Marsagli, Bonucci, and Chiellini all missing time at one point or another last season. Allegri electing to hold on for the moment. Ball past Dybala. Asamoah tries to lift it up over Gonzalo, but can't. of fans may be disappointed when they walked into the stadium and saw the starting lineup, thinking about some of the new faces. But I guarantee in the dressing room, even the newcomers, while they might be disappointed not to start, can appreciate the fact that you have to earn that position. Nice little touch by Ilicic, but nothing comes of it.
Well, if you compare the start of Juventus with the start of the past season, when they actually have lost the first game against Udinese, and they didn't play really bad, but it seemed like the attitude wasn't really someone who was focused to do the job since the very first game. And this tells you probably how much they have learned. Allegri has always had bad starts with his teams, but with Juventus has been up and down. The first season, 12 points in the first 4 games, and then in the past season they almost seemed to fight for relegation after 1 month and a half. So probably he learned, the whole team learned from that experience, and this is not sending a good message to all the other competitors already after 14 minutes.
Corner kick for Juve will swing away from the Romanian. So Borja Valero up in the stands. If healthy, he might be out there in place of Bernardeschi with a good tackle, driven to the top of the 18, settling. Alves shoots it into the wall and it bounces away. Didn't see much of that shot the last few years at Barca, but he had it in his arsenal at Sevilla, and now dribbling his way into danger and dispossessed. Ilicic off to Chiesa. Everyone watching the kid. The 18-year-old tries to cut to the inside, but off of Asamoah and out. Father spent some time with Fiorentina in his prime. Scored 34 goals over a 3-year span. Also a member of the Azzurri 22 times.
A fantastic time, Chiesa, with Fiorentina. Unfortunately, then was stopped by a pretty serious injury. It looked like it could become one world star, actually.
Story steps up, the ex-Milan center back. Coming in from Roma by way of Cagliari. Ilicic riding the challenge off to Alonso.
It's just too slow.
Hanging the ball high, Tomovic. Bobbled by Buffon, but he jumps on top of it before Chiesa can pounce.
It's just a too slow building up so far for Fiorentina. And if you have to play with transitions, because Juventus is not leaving you so much time, you can't really allow yourself that. Obviously, they miss Borja Valero. It's not something you can cope with that, like in just one day from the other. But they should just be quicker in playing the ball. And as I said, Ilicic could be the key for that. But if they are so slow in bringing up the ball, that well, to Juventus the things just come too easy.
It looks very deliberate from the Viola at the moment. On the bench, though, they do have Mati Fernandez. They have Christian Theo. They have Zarate as well, not to mention Giuseppe Rossi. So their cupboard is not bare, even if maybe not some new items on it to Paulo Sousa's liking. In for Bedell and back for Astori. Paulo Rodriguez. He's been around forever. From San Lorenzo through Villarreal, and now it seems like he's been at Fiorentina for a decade, but he's still only 32. Never capped.
You sure there is no work for him at the Uffizi? No, from Rinascimento is there?
Oh, trickles into the path of Chiesa. Not a bad idea, but Kalinic couldn't come out on the other end.
You mentioned Giuseppe Rossi. It's interesting to see what will happen, because nobody honestly expected that he could be still with Fiorentina by 20th of August. We'll see if Paulo Sousa will give him a chance. There are some destinies, some careers, some things, some decision that happens only for some lucky strike, some lucky episode, and honestly, Rossi didn't have any luck in his career. Maybe he might come in and doing good, and Fiorentina could change the mind and not selling him before the deadline.
Has luck, it's bad. kid from Teaneck, though, never giving up. Ball slips away from Barzagli. Asa couldn't control. Here's Dybala, who's been quiet of late. Finds Asamoah. Ball pops up on him, having to turn the other way. Alexandro. An afterthought last year following his move from Porto, but getting the start on opening day. Read anything into that?
Yeah.
Considering Evra played very well.
Yep, he's not getting any younger, nobody is. But last year, Alexandro, the few times he came in, it was always decisive. Obviously, need to be...
And blasted up and over, no problem for Fiorentina.
Obviously, he needed to be more disciplined on a tactical side. 1 year with Juventus, with Allegri, has changed that. The fact that against a tactically smart team like Fiorentina, anyway, Allegri is taking the risk, if we can call it that risk, to line up Alexandro since beginning. Maybe it is telling about something about the hierarchy that have changed in Juventus.
Sano sending it long. Coming back Kalinic, but couldn't control. 20th minute. Barzagli getting ready to put this one back. 250 miles separates these two. Fiorentina making the trek northwest to Turin. I mentioned a beautiful day to play. 70 degrees, a bit of chill in the air, considering the heat wave that is going through much of Europe. Well handled. Story off to Alonso. Managed with some help in the middle. Dani Alves scrambling back. And Fiorentina opts for possession. Carolina taking on the Indy 11 tonight in NASL play. 7:30 p.m. kickoff from Carolina. 4:30 Pacific. Check it out on beInSports.com as well.
Talking about numbers, there are some rough 145 millions of euros sitting on the bench for Juventus at the moment. Higuain, Piazza, Pjanic, 145 millions of euros splashed.
Good look at Rossi and Matigol. Of course, what's even more impressive for Juventus is how many of those millions after these sales are sitting in the bank account. There might not be a club that does business better than Juve.
No, absolutely not. Barzagli, just mine, came for free. Bonucci came not for free, but in a time when everybody was tipping Ranocchia to be the next centre-back for Italy, and it was not.
And of course, Pogba practically free, and they sell him on for 100 million profit.
Yeah, approximately. We will never know exactly the right figures.
For Dybala, pops and it drops, but he shoots it wide.
Dybala himself, that came for 40 millions. It seemed too much last year, and probably if they would sell him, they won't obviously, but if they would like to do that, he would already go for some 70 millions of euros at least.
Tevez who? 22nd minute. Again, Juventus has been on the front foot. Fiorentina trying to slow things down. Another poor pass out of the back from the Romanian, but it does find a mark. And now bursting forward, Chiesa. Federico with a touch of speed, but not as fast as Alves. And definitely not as fast as Alves' mouth. But a few words in passing.
It's interesting also how Lemina will perform. We see he's taking exactly the Marchisio position with no shame to do that. He's tracking back to receive the passage, to receive the ball, and then starting the building up. That would be the best signing for Juventus.
Lost into the air, just over Mandzukic. Lemina getting a chance in the starting lineup, just at the edge of the area. Dybala sees the pass go awry. Out to the midfield, and Chiellini stops the break single-handedly. And it looks as though he's used 2 of his 3 lives. De Massa saying next one's a card.
The cat Chiellini. So. Well, probably the booking that Massa saved for Fiorentina at the beginning, he gave at the same meter with Juventus and with Chiellini. So 1-1 now. End of of the nice warm-up, the next one is going to be the yellow one for both of them.
Lemina played 10 games last year for Juventus, and even though he does have the bleached blonde hair a la Pogba, different style player, he has some of those tricks in his arsenal, but tends to be a lot more of a get it, give it kind of player.
Yeah, absolutely. It was exactly against Fiorentina that he showed to Allegri that he could have been reliable enough to start from the beginning. Obviously, for this kind of young players, the main issue is being consistent along the 90 minutes. It was the issue also for Paul Pogba until approximately a season ago. So the good start is there, but now he's pumped, he's hyped because he was picked in the starting lineup in the first game. Probably will tell more about his consistency the second half.
Asa marking this one off.
Why Pirlo's not gonna take this? Ah, sorry.
This is interesting. Dani Alves. No Messi on the receiving end. Dybala there as well, and it might actually be set up more for the Argentine, but it will be the Brazilian sending it over Chiellini. Alonso at the back post clears. Alexandro, deflected cross. Tomovic trying to handle it, bringing it down Bonucci, but collides with Chiesa. Out for Lemina. And if that was intentional, you might want to think again.
That is what in Italy we call ciabattata, a shot taken with a sleeper.
And then back to Chiellini.
One thing is marking the difference between the two. The pressure that Juventus do 1 second after losing the ball, and the pressure that Fiorentina don't do when Juventus got the ball.
This is the second match of the new campaign. Earlier today, you caught Roma against Udinese. And boy, did Udinese get caught. A couple of penalties did not help. It was actually scoreless at the hour mark. But then Perrotta stepped up after 2 fouls, then Dzeko and Salah putting it out of reach. So a convincing start from what many think is Juventus's most serious rival. Fiorentina in that group just below. Driven long by Bedel. Who else do you think is going to legitimately challenge? Post Higuain, does Napoli have anything left?
Obviously, Napoli got a lot left, and I believe that the signing they are doing are good, not good enough, obviously, to win the league. The main asset for Napoli is Maurizio Sarri, the manager that revived, actually, Higuain. And so they know exactly how they have to play, where are their teammates, and working for 2 years with the same manager is obviously being something that will give you huge advantage over the others. But the problem is that the comparison is with Juventus. It's the 6 of the best starting 11 of the last year, plus Pjanic and Higuain, the best player of your 2 competitors. It's pure football trolling, that one.
Chiesa finding a little hole after the slip by Khedira. Chiesa in the box, and then Chiellini again. So close for the kid. Lemina tries to dribble around, but Ilicic playing some defense. That might be a first.
Look at him. Ilicic, I have to say, he doesn't have good press. Look, this cross.
Laps it in, but it just skips away from Marcos Alonso.
Doesn't have a good publicity, Ilicic, but I have seen him running way more than people think. He just got this attitude that looks like he's the prince that is not gonna dirty his socks to run around, but he actually always cheering up his well, as a Slovenian can do it anyway, but cheering up his teammate is helping a lot. Obviously, last year in this 3-4-2-1, he was playing, having on the other side Borja Valero, and talking about football with Borja Valero is different than doing with Federico Chiesa, with all due respect, but it's just starting today.
Don't forget, start your day off tomorrow. From the Czech Republic, it's MotoGP, 4:50 a.m. All flipped on by Khedira. Another player trying to get off to a healthy start, like Asamoah. Reclaimed by Bonucci. Lemina sprinting a bit. Ilicic staying with him in the center of the screen. But that just opens the door for Khedira. Alves. First touch got away. Alonso forces him back. Lemina has the potential. There's still the Storados and the likes in the mix, but will allow Marchisio to move up a bit, back to his more normal central position. Read it in for Asamoah, but just missing the big man.
Well, Marchisio is the boss, is the owner. He's not someone like that should feel afraid of not finding back his place when he will be finally fit. But if Lemina will be reliable, this is giving one huge important option to Massimiliano Allegri, that last season started with Hernanes. It's not a coincidence that Hernanes was not even barely considered to start in this game, because it's never been reliable, never been consistent, and that is the key. That position is the key for many teams, but especially for Juventus.
Lemina does well to win that one away from Chiesa and start a break the other way. Burst of speed from the Brazilian. Big switch towards Mandzukic. Chalo Rodriguez able to get it away from danger briefly. Dybala to Alves. Marcos Alonso spinning around, tries to grab Dybala, and he does just enough to throw him off. Dybala's shot spins wide. Just take a look how hard it is to mark him.
Yeah, we might have seen a glimpse of something that will drive crazy the Juventus competitors along the season, because when Dani Alves is shifting gear and something that Dybala is able to do very well, that is something that is, I mean, he's accustomed to play at a different pace in Barcelona, and that's just something that nobody else have in Serie A.
Same point, the kid from Instituto has been described by some as the next Messi, and you saw a little bit of it there on that spin. And so much credit obviously to Barcelona's emergence with Messi, but it was the arrival of Dani Alves from Sevilla that gave him that foil, that gave him that person to play off of, that helped Messi adjust. And one of the big reasons Juventus went out to get Alves.
You mean Dani Alves came to Turin to give him his blessing?
The Pope was busy. Lichtsteiner not getting any younger, but smart move, at least at the moment. Down goes Khedira. Quick thinking from Alves, but Fiorentina threw bodies in the way.
Half an hour and Fiorentina didn't have not even something that looked like a chance. Nothing. Well, they barely played in the half of Juventus.
Chance here for Mandzukic, but just poked free by Astori. 7 shots for Juventus. Absolutely none for Fiorentina. Possession 63% for Juve. Only 16% of the time has the ball been near the Juventus goal. Paulo Sousa might be doing as much running as the 11 on the field. Astori over the Tomovic. Versatile player, the Serbian. Pretty much anywhere on the back line or the central midfield. 28-year-old from Genoa.
There's clearly something missing in the middle for Fiorentina. They receive the ball from defense. They are too slow to playing it wide or close or any way to dribble the Juventus player that is putting pressure at the moment. That is just leaving the space to Juventus to come up easily, to put 2, even 3 sometimes players on who's playing the ball for Fiorentina, and in this way it's very hard to go anywhere.
And so keeps it in, barely walking the tightrope. Chiesa for Ilicic, who reaches back, but then Bonucci in the way. Keeping the ball in the Juve end, the tackle from Alonso. Well, as you mentioned, the player who could resolve that is up in the stands, unfortunately, and not dressed in Borja Valero. And even the creative players available on the bench likes of Mateo Fernandez, Zarate more comfortable further upfield. Fiorentina not really getting the ball upfield.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe even if he doesn't have, is not solid to stand for 90 minutes, but maybe Paulo Sousa might think about bringing in Mati Fernandez. He's the only one that can help at least to ease the way for Fiorentina to bring the ball a bit more high, because really after they get to the midfield line, they just become helpless.
Marseille, the forgotten man of that back three. Vital since coming over from the Bundesliga. Hangs in the air Alves. Khedira couldn't get it. Alexandro does. Back for a sprinting Dybala. Again for the Brazilian. Crossover Mandzukic. Alves tried to have a go, but it looks like he got more of Alonso than he did of the ball.
It was just a coincidence. Daniel Alves didn't see that there was anybody coming from behind.
That was Badel actually cutting inside the Spaniard.
Just taking a bit of time, resting, giving time to Fiorentina to breathe.
Well, good workmanlike as we take a look at Hernanes just over the shoulder. Workmanlike central mid. As you mentioned, Carlos Sanchez, maybe, I think that might be his hair there in the middle, but Sanchez may be a bit better passer out of the back.
We've seen Massimiliano Allegri talking with his assistant Marco Landucci, former historic Fiorentina goalkeeper. I had the chance to watch a couple of games sitting just beside Allegri. It's a continuous talk with Landucci. Very rarely I saw a manager talking so much with his assistant. Guardiola, for example, is one that is doing that a lot.
Allegri always comes across stoic and quiet, it seems. There's a lot bubbling up, and sometimes it bubbles over. A lot of questions when he stepped in for Conte. You don't hear them much anymore. And so shepherds it across. Of course, plenty more action coming your way throughout this opening weekend of Serie A. Check out beInSports.com for more particulars, but some intriguing matchups. Empoli against Sampdoria, two teams that maybe could challenge for a Europa spot. Sassuolo doing well in Europe with a big win over Red Star. They'll open up at Palermo.
But especially the comeback of Mihajlovic in San Siro. And knowing Mihajlovic, he will feel that a bit.
Samoa back. Sliding back Vecino to help cover. Omovic forces the drop. Dybala. Chiellini threads it in. The header by Khedira. ABC, just like that, and Juve's in front.
Didn't we mention that Khedira could have got more goals in this season, because he was actually the midfielder most entitled to break into the box? Exactly happened that. If you look at that cross that came from the left, they're not putting any pressure, Fiorentina. They are not doubling on who's throwing the ball in. They're just letting all the time to Juventus, Chiellini, to put the ball exactly where he wants. Where are you going? Where do you want to go in that way?
And the other thing to consider, I think this was by design. They waited for the moment when he was matched up with the 18-year-old Federico Chiesa, whose only job defending there was to point at Khedira's back and say, mark him.
Yes, indeed. But for that reason, if you know that you have a teammate that has to learn still, so you have to back him with some of the... you have to work with him, you have to double with him, you have to push him for pressuring, showing him even how to do it, and there was nothing like that. Honestly, Fiorentina are playing in a way that is unusual for them, like someone that is defending the nil-nil, which actually now is not existing anymore.
Right again, Alexandro. Milicic steps in, finds Lemina, flips it up, but a little too eager. Despite a rough season last year, his debut with Juve, still finished with 5 goals, did Khedira.
Look this, 3 men putting the pressure up there on the edge of the box. There is no chance for Fiorentina to come out of that. Tatarusanu is compelled to throw an high ball. Kalinic to get an impossible ball to get. Must do foul, getting even the yellow card, going nowhere in this way.
You can even see, talking about that pressure, even Mandzukic was taking away the options for the simple pass. That was really the only option for Tatarusanu. Arm comes up, maybe making a bit more of it than it was, but Bonucci puts Kalinic in the book. Still thinking back to the first times I've seen Sami Khedira back in his Stuttgart days, and he was a central mid, but more of an attacking one. It was when he went to Real Madrid, and especially under Mourinho, that he got that reputation of basically just being a water carrier. In his days in Stuttgart, he knew how to score, and he shows he hasn't forgotten.
And even in last summer, the Euro Championship, he had more responsibility in running into the box, obviously until then he was fit. But Joachim Low realized how important he could be there in the midfield, since Schweinsteiger was no more an asset for Germany.
Big switch near side. Alves settles, turns inside past Chiesa. Probing, poking, looking for weaknesses. Laid off for Dybala. Dances around the challenge. The shot deflected and finally cleared back upfield by Vidal. Vecino pinballing around, trying to stay in front of the young Argentine. Alexandro in towards Khedira again. Cleared away. Falls right to the feet of Dybala, but his shot sails high.
I don't know how good is Juventus or how bad is Fiorentina, because the way they are playing is absolutely frustrating. As I said, very seldom we have seen something like this from the Paulo Sousa side. And as we mentioned before the game started, I wouldn't want that this is like sending out a message to the club saying this is who we are at the moment, so you should move up, you should do something.
Tina flat and flat-footed. In some ways fortunate it's only a 1-goal lead for the champions. Back to Buffon. Kind of like an albatross, Buffon. Never looks graceful until he's in midair. It's so smart. Sosa already looking to the bench.
Because you thought that he likes Coleridge, but he's actually everlasting. 2 years more, at least, we have from Buffon. 2 years more. So enjoy every game where you see him on the pitch. Unless he will hopefully change mind after Russia 2018.
Action in Serie A continues tomorrow. Mentioned Milan-Torino is one of those games. You can follow it right here on beIN Sports. Kicking off 11:30 a.m. Ball into the 6th. Kalinic unable to bring it under control. No problem for Buffon. Again, having second thoughts, but no real pressure, unlike what Juve has done down on the other end. Khedira trying to flick it with his back. Turned, ball won back by Alonso. Now through to the young Uruguayan Vecino.
Look this, when the three in the middle for Fiorentina are having the ball, the other up front, so Ilicic, Kalinic of course, even Federico Chiesa, they're just swallowed into the line between midfield and defense. They lose the ball again.
Had no options, just a blind pass that's taken away.
but just repeating and repeating. They have how to play the ball quicker, or the front line must be more tight, more closer to the midfield, because in this way they're not going to find any space, and they're actually making it even too easy. Looks even too easy, too much easy for Juventus.
11 straight at home without allowing a goal for Juve, and little sign that Fiorentina is going to crack that dam just yet. Yellow card by Vecino. And time at Empoli last season on loan, the ex-Nacional midfielder. And as you take a look, that's something Dybala is so good at. There really wasn't much there. Vecino did reach out in frustration, but Dybala puts his body in front and now puts a yellow card on Vecino's neck.
And had an open way for him to bring the ball, which again
if
is
he wasn't knocked down.
Yeah, which is stressing again how the players, the Fiorentina players, are just playing too far one from the other.
Nice little touch from Alves, but Khedira caught flat-footed. Alonso out to Astori. Tried to get the ball to Badel, but taken away. Quick touch Mandzukic. Alexandro high to the near post, but off target. Had help inside, but went for glory.
Forgiving. Look there. So much space. You actually have even a bit more of time to look at Tataruzano, to look at the goal. Probably that would have helped.
And if you take a look, there were two men wide open for a drop pass. If Fiorentina finds a way to equalize this in the second half, Alexandro is going to have some answers to give.
What we are seeing here is interesting because obviously, even for the price that has been paid, Higuain has to start. But the work that Mandzukic is doing, is Higuain able to do it in the right way, in that way? Because he was having around Napoli playing for him back in Naples. So can Juventus adapt also to Higuain? Obviously he has to adapt to Juventus, but can Juventus also adapt to El Pipita?
Allegri parking instructions. Dani Alves seemed to be caught in two minds, but well covered by Barzagli. 3 minutes to be added. 3 minutes for Fiorentina to level or for Juve to pull away. Oh, just the one. Rossi saying how he would have done it. Rodriguez off to Astori, playing out the string with a half-minute left. With 3 wins in the last 34 meetings for Fiorentina against Juve, and they'll need to play much better in the second half if they're going to get another. Eyes and ears on the Ville Massa as the first half winds to a close. Despite the dominance of Juventus from the run of play, only the single goal to show for it. 63% possession, but it's Khedira's goal that makes the difference. 1-0 Juve at the break.
Well, something must change, obviously, from Paulo Sousa. Maybe he could bring Mati Fernandez, as we mentioned, but it's not only about having new men, having new blood on the pitch. It's about changing attitude.
Well, we've got another 45 minutes to go from Turin. Juve with a nose in front as the La Liga, or the Serie A season, underway.
Excuse me, I think there's a misprint.
Oh, model year-end clearance event. Looks right to me.
Shouldn't it be clear?
Clearly, it is time to get a great deal and a reward card on this turbocharged Jetta. Got to make room for the 2017 models. It is a clearance event. Why is that so hard for people to understand? Seems clear to me. Clear to me. Ready for a test drive?
Whatever you want to call it, don't miss the Volkswagen Model Year-End event. Hurry in for a $1,000 Volkswagen reward card and 0% APR on a new 2016 Jetta.
Nothing worth doing has ever been easy, because trying and doing the things that are hard has a way of proving its worth. And at Valvoline, we've spent the last 150 years proving ours. That's why we created Max Life, Specially formulated to help fight the hidden signs of aging in cars over 75,000 miles. It's proven to help maximize the life of your engine and to keep you moving forward. Valvoline, 150 years under the hood.
La Liga is back on beIN Sports. Live from San Sebastian, Real Sociedad, Real Madrid. Los Merengues begin their battle to take the league's title crown off Barcelona's head. The 2016-2017 season is here. Tomorrow, the best league in the world on beIN Sports.
You need a website. Why not do it yourself? With Wix, you can create your own professional website. Choose a template, change your text, add one of our images, or upload your own. And just like that, you've got your own stunning website.
To the inside, second touch. Tees up.
When a goal is worth more than 1,000 words, it's always good to take a second look.
Shoots. Score!
Because watching a masterpiece again is never overrated. Monday Night Soccer is back. The best action of the weekend, always with a fresher take. Every Monday on beIN Sports.
For me, like, when I try to explain racing, it's just like, to get where I'm at, it's just like any other sport. You know, you move up through the ranks, and from these little races, and then, you know, I started to move up, and then, you know, I progressed, and once I got older, you know, my family seen that, you know, I had the talent to maybe do something with it, and then, you know, we went to the next level, and then sponsors and teams started looking at me, and then when I turned 16, I was able to be a professional motorcycle racer, which is a dream come true. Not a lot of people get to live their dream, but I do. I wake up every day trying to get better, working on my physical condition, training, and, you know, riding, and always thinking about how I can get better. I'm Roger Hayden, and don't miss the best of Moto America here on beIN Sports.
Half time between Juventus and Fiorentina is this powerful header from Sami Khedira. Sides making up for an earlier missed opportunity in this game was the German midfielder, and he's put his side ahead going into the half-time break. We've had more Serie A action from you here in beIN Sports today. Roma taking on Udinese in a game a little earlier on, a high-scoring game as well, but it didn't look like it was going to be that way until about an hour in this one. Giallorossi coming in this one on the back of that draw with Porto in their Champions League playoff midweek. And a new look Udinese, no Antonio Di Natale anymore. Wasn't until the 65th minute that things get underway. Dzeko got brought down. Diego Perotti, second half substitute, stepped up to convert the penalty. He said when he did come on, he asked himself how he could contribute. Well, I think this was pretty much a good contribution from him. Then Mo Salah draws a penalty. Perotti steps up again. He's the first player to convert 2 spot kicks in the same Serie A game since Montella in 2002. Edin Dzeko gets some of the critics off his back early on for this season, we hope. He scored the third for Roma in the 82nd minute. Nainggolan with the assist on that one. And in the 84th minute, the man who earned the second penalty, Mohamed Salah, little header there for him. Second time of asking after Carneses did state the first one, but a nice start for Roma under Spalletti. 4-0 that one, and a great way for them to go into their second leg against Porto in that Champions League playoff. Here's how today's calendar looks for you. The extra will come up straight after the second half between Juventus and Fiorentina. We'll react to that game and all the others across Europe today and beyond. Myself, Andres Cordero, Tancredi Palmieri and Thomas Rongan will join us as well, and more Liga action coming up for you on Sunday. Real Sociedad will be hosting an under-strength Real Madrid, and also Atleti will face New Boys Alaves. But stay with us, we've got more action coming up for you after the break. It's Juventus Fiorentina, second half.
The local wine shop, a place where people go to get confused, frustrated, and end up picking pretty labels instead of great wine. Well, now there's a better way. At tastingroom.com, America's #1 personalized wine club. Every bottle is selected based on your personal wine profile, and fewer than 1 in 50 wines makes it through our rigorous selection process. We're so sure that you'll love our wines that every bottle is backed by our total satisfaction guarantee. The Huffington Post calls Tasting Room the first wine club to get it right. Get amazing wines at incredible prices, selected just for you, delivered right to you. Go to tastingroom.com and receive your exclusive tasting kit of world-class wines. Once you get your kit, taste, rate, and build your personal profile one sip at a time. It's a no-brainer. Great wine without the guesswork, backed by our total satisfaction guarantee.
Go to tastingroom.com, enter promo code WINE4, and get your exclusive tasting kit, a $40 value for just $6.95. Tastingroom.com, code WINE4.
Tastingroom.com. Taste, rate, enjoy.
Are you being audited and do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Is the IRS threatening to take more of your money? Don't fight the IRS alone. The Tax Doctor is here to help you negotiate your tax bill and reduce your stress. The IRS can freeze your assets and seize your bank accounts, but you can stop these IRS actions. The Tax Doctor will work with you using our years of experience to represent your case to help you get the best resolution under the IRS guidelines. Help is here to deal with the IRS to reduce your stress. We've handled thousands of cases, so we know what we're doing. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, do not call the IRS alone. Call a Tax Doctor now for a tax emergency analysis.
La Liga is back on beIN Sports. Live. Atletico de Madrid. Alaves. Tomorrow. The best league in the world on beIN Sports. The Locker Room. Our original program that brings you the best analysis and insightful comments of the most important matches of the week by our specialists in everything sports. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7:30 p.m. The Locker Room on beIN Sports.
The world's #1 hurdler, Omar McLeod, will be facing off with 2015 World's Best Performer, Orlando Ortega, William Belician, and Pascal Martinoy Lagarde. In a complete royal lineup you don't want to miss. The Diamond League, Lausanne, Switzerland. Thursday, only on beIN Sports.
First half in the books, second half still to be written. Khedira with the goal 8 minutes from halftime. Crady put the pressure on, but only the one goal to show for it.
Yeah, that happens, honestly, to Juventus, but it's okay because they have been confident like for the whole 45 minutes. And Juventus and Fiorentina are being the perfect meal for them. I don't know what kind of meal. We say in Italy being no meat and no fish. And this is the kind of lineup that Fiorentina has been.
But it's their dessert.
It's a dessert, and actually it tastes sweet for Juventus this start.
And there it is with the candle on top. Sami Khedira with his debut goal of the season, showing his return to form.
The two best chances for Juventus, one missed by Khedira, one scored by Khedira. Not a coincidence that it was him inside the box, not Dybala, not Mandzukic. As we said, again we stressed, the Khedira option could be just crucial for Juventus, bringing the goals that the others can't.
Another chance here set up by Alex Sandro. Khedira kind of filling that Vidal role from a few years back and filling the net. 1-0 Juve at the half.
Today, Mexican stars Omar Bravo and Gerardo Torrado come face to face in the NASL Match of the Week. Carolina Railhawks versus Indy 11 on beIN Sports.
Talent is essential.
Symphony number
10.
Tiffany number 10.
Tiffany number 10.
I'm just a guy who wants to buy that truck.
And I'm just a guy who wants to sell him that truck.
So I used TrueCar. It told me what other people in the area paid for the truck I want.
And because we're a TrueCar certified dealership, I already know the truck you want, so we're on the same page before it even gets here. It's fair.
And it's fast.
Look good?
It's great. This is how car buying was always meant to be. This is TrueCar.
$1985. A devastating earthquake rocked Mexico City, facing the chances of canceling the World Cup. 1 year later, or of Argentina's national team.
Nombrar Bilardo era como nombrar a la peor persona del mundo.
They were alone.
Era muy poca la gente que creía en nosotros.
Mexico City. It was the beginning of an unforgettable moment.
England and Argentina will be played in a sporting spirit.
Yo juego al fútbol, de política nada.
Overcoming all obstacles, they reached the glory.
The best goal I've ever seen.
Based on a true story, beIN Sports presents The Impossible Champion. Coming soon, exclusively on beIN Sports. It's time for us to be national. We're coming to your backyard. Watch your school, sing your anthem, follow your team. College sports are here on beIN Sports.
Well, second half looming, and the young fans looking on. At this point, not much to cheer about if you're wearing purple. Meanwhile, wearing the blood red, Roma with a good performance against Udinese, and that Milan-Torino game, one of the highlights tomorrow. Keep it tuned to beIN Sports for all of the latest. Second half kickoff from Turin coming.
They're coming. Build now. Higher. Perfect. Seems that the enemy has hit a bit of a wall.
Mobile strike. Download and play now. Free from the App Store.
Does anybody know how I can get a small business loan fast?
I'm a chef.
I'm a stylist.
I sell tires for your car.
I'm a doc in private practice.
That's my name above that bar.
Rapid Advance.
Help my business grow.
Rapid Advance. They didn't say no. Rapid Advance.
I got approval in a day.
Rapid Advance. I got my money right away.
With Rapid, there's no hassles.
No paperwork galore.
You just need to be in business for a year or more.
Call 877-GO-RAPID or visit rapidadvance.com. Get up to $300,000 in just days. 877-GO-RAPID.
Rapid Advance. They didn't say no. Rapid Advance. They help your business grow.
Call 877-GO-RAPID or rapidadvance.com.
Your money's here.
Bit of a crazy summer for Juventus, but it is off to a good start. And to this point, Gonzalo Higuain is going to have to wait to start his Juventus career. Has not been involved in the scoreboard, but Mario Mandzukic has been involved in the attack. Shane Tancredi Palmeri with you, and Tancredi looking at the Viola coming onto the field. Not quite sure if you look at the bench if there's a magic answer there. It seems more to be the fact Paulo Sousa needs to find the on switch.
Yeah, not at all. As we said, maybe Mati Fernandez for the way Fiorentina could play in a different way. Maybe Babacar to give more speed.
One change already coming in, and Iesa's debut is done, and Zarate will step in. So more experienced creator, but it was deeper, even getting possession and turning it upfield that made a difference.
Cristian Tello. Yeah, Cristian Tello, I mean, could be more defensive than Federico Chiesa. Definitely, he's more defensive than Federico Chiesa. So we might see a switch, maybe to 3-5-2. We'll see.
Second half underway. Cristian Tello, more of a wing player. Ball driven in towards the spot. The deflection despite the attempt by Rodriguez, but Dybala in pain. The two Argentines arrived with the ball sandwiched in between, and Dybala comes out the worse. And Higuaín, just like that, pops up off the bench. Might have taken the point of Rodriguez's toe.
Yeah, it was unlucky in the challenge. There was no intention from Rodriguez to harm Dybala. It's already standing there. Seems like Fiorentina is keeping the 3-4-2-1.
Pressure. Chiellini there to haul it in. Straight to Asamoah, who gets run over in the process. A lot of questions on this Juve side to start the season. Khedira answering with a goal. Asamoah has looked dangerous. Alves and Alexandro down the flanks have been quite involved. Lemina as well, comfortable in the midfield. Fiorentina really has not tested them much. In fact, the first time in more than a decade, they have been held without a shot in the first half. Chiellini with a little push on Alonso.
Samoa may be the most surprising thing, because in some way everybody was expecting Lemina to step up. But Asamoah, nobody saw anything anymore from him of what was expected since he left in 2013 for the African Cup and came back, and Antonio Conte said we just had a different player coming back, and Asamoah was never shining anymore.
Alonso coming in, cleats flashing, and catches by Saggi in the process. Massa making it obvious there will not be a caution. Not letting him know how close he came.
It's a bit too wide, I have to say, left leg.
35 years of age. Bonucci, the young pup, at 29. In Italy, they like them with a bit of gray. 49th minute. Alves sends it towards the back post. Khedira again sends it towards the spot, but everyone had run. Fiorentina able to clear, and Asamoah with a nice touch.
Let's see if now Fiorentina can bring up pressure in some way, can bring up the midfield line a bit. This is the first time that actually, after 3 minutes and a half in the second half, 3 minutes of half in the second half, Fiorentina could play or try to play at least the ball in Juventus half.
Sheo with those red boots on did not start today, perhaps because the transfer, the loan from Barcelona, didn't happen until quite recently. Ball in again, Mandzukic, but trying to go over the top of Tomovic. Goal kick.
It doesn't look good again for Fiorentina. Again, this cross came too easily. The position on Mandzukic, barely good, only at the end. But they just get down in Fiorentina box. Look, another lost ball. They just get down into Fiorentina box too easily.
Up on Asamoah. Fiorentina can't make anything of it as Lemina able to Step up quickly. Good ball, Alexandro. Asamoah squares, but behind Mandzukic. Might have taken a touch. Lemina again. And why not have a go? Although that one just went. It seems hard to imagine, but Fiorentina seems to have come out of the second half even flatter than they went in the first.
It's hard. It's strange because knowing Paulo Sousa, he would have get way more reaction. But I don't know if we can find a path between this start of the second half and the suspect at the beginning of the game that we had about his lineup being mirroring how unhappy he is of the politics of what Fiorentina has done in this summer.
Did well at Basel a couple of seasons ago, building on what that Swiss side had become. Bit of a surprise last season, especially first half, where it actually appeared as though Fiorentina might have had a chance to finally claim a Scudetto, thanks to Juventus's collapse, but second half was a different story.
Everybody collapsed, but you couldn't expect more. Fiorentina was playing above their real possibilities, and actually Paulo Sousa was even thinking a lot about Europa League and tried hard. He just was very unlucky to be drawn against Tottenham, the best Tottenham of last 50 years probably. So they were doing a small miracle till January, but it didn't last.
Olovic to Theo. They were pinching in a lot, but now back out on the flank. And for Vecino. Only player with a caution at the moment.
It's like now he's just briefing a bit.
Back for Vecino. Now tries to slow him down, and teams with Dybala to force the turnover. Mandzukic might have taken a kick to the calf.
Third yellow could come for Gonzalo Rodriguez. Let's see.
Referee let advantage continue. See those 3 stars in the chest, each for 10 championships. The only team that can claim those 3 stars, even though they might say they deserve a bit more.
Here comes Piazza, at least warming up. A very talented, intriguing winger, but someone that can also play as internal midfielder, and Juventus might actually want to change his position to that, because they need more that position. The limits for Piazza, as for a youngster like that, obviously are unwritten, are unknown. Someone even used the comparison with Savicevic. I don't know how much blasphemy.
NASL coming your way later today, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. Indy visiting Carolina. Juventus visiting Lazio in their next encounter. Fiorentina will open their home campaign against Chievo Verona. Samoa again. Barzagli. Bala tried to flick it on. Barzagli comes in to clean the deck, and that will be the first caution against Juventus.
It's getting very angry, which is not common for Barzagli. You see that from Bonucci, from Chiellini. Actually, he might be right, because he's going straight to the ball.
There was some contact, but you could say it was both players.
Yeah, maybe it was Kalinic that was, playing wide with the left leg, almost waiting for the contact. You can still give the foul, but maybe Barzagli got some reason to get angry that way. And as I said, we aren't used to see players always protesting. Barzagli is not that kind.
And again, protesting, you got to be cautious, especially with the new laws of the game. Referees given a lot more freedom and encouragement to pull out the cards. First caution against Juve, 2 against Fiorentina. Driven by Ilicic. Finds the head of Rodriguez, but he can't get on top of it. How long a leash does Paulo Sousa have? As you mentioned, he's not happy by the inaction in the transfer market, but might that be a sign that the Fiorentina bosses aren't that sold that he's the guy to make the calls?
Actually, Paulo Sousa had offers along the summer, especially from Zenit, were actually financially pretty good. Fiorentina, though, are very tough negotiator. Look what happened with Montella to get rid of the releasing fee from his contract had to go to Sampdoria. So they wanted to continue with Paulo Sousa. Also, they didn't have better options to put on the bench. But probably this is just the limit of what Fiorentina can do. And not getting the Champions League for so many years has probably affected the will of investing from the team.
Which spotted the run of Kalinic. See a little of the frustration as he collides with Bonucci, but ball straight to Buffon and over to Barzagli, and up comes Juve the other way. Last time these two teams met was back in April in Florence in a 2-1 Juve victory. Of course, the comeback was well underway at that point.
Look again, midfield is swallowed in between the Juventus lines. Very hard to play. Bernardeschi now has to track back. So
but normally the way you would handle that is go out to the wings. It just takes Fiorentina so long to get there that Juve can recover.
Exactly, indeed. And it is predictable. Everybody can spot where the ball will go, and it's not going there any quicker. So look now on Ilicic, that, as we said, could be the one that could actually create something. That were Lemina, Khedira and Dybala ready to put pressure. 3 on the only playmaker, we can say.
And that was a good idea by Teo, but a poor pass. Now pressuring Lemina. Barzagli going to get there. Ilicic just a little late, but it does force the turnover. Can Fiorentina make something of it? Alonso trying to get around Khedira, chips it high. Bernardeschi giving chase, the young Italian international. For all the dominance of Juve, for all the problems of Fiorentina, it's still just 1 goal.
That's very true. Might be one reason why maybe Allegri could decide to bring in Higuain, that he is warming up. But there was a reason why we saw Paulo Sousa screaming. He was exactly saying that after that corner kick that Fiorentina missed. Was screaming, shouting to his players, stay up, be there, stretch the game.
Wide for the Brazilian. Alexandro drives on Tomovic, who got a touch. Vecino maybe had a little bit better chance to find a teammate, but just blasted upfield. Poor effort from Barzagli. Straight to Teo. Teo again on the break for Bernardeschi. The Fiorentina youth product up for Kalinic. Bundled over by Chiellini, but it was shoulder to shoulder, and a smart play by the veteran.
Very soft from Kalinic. He probably should have tried to control and hold the ball, waiting to get some help from the back. If you just go in that way, waiting for Chiellini to do one foul in the box.
And again, kind of use that as a bookend to what we saw in the first half with Paulo Dybala, where he knew the contact was coming, but he initiated it and ended up getting the foul call. Kalinic just seemed to be a willing participant.
Yeah. A bit of a symbol of how Fiorentina is a participant all along the pitch. Hernandez also warming up. I might be wrong, obviously. I don't feel like Allegri would play him in place of Lemina or someone. I'm still doing good.
Again, the one thing in Serie A, in an effort to, I guess, make it more difficult to even think about a fix, there are more substitutes than there are starters. So plenty of options for Allegri and Sousa. Dybala's frantic running on that far side, helping to win it back on a throw. Giuseppe Rossi already breaking a sweat. Dybala switches over. Alexandro. With so much talent on the bench, proven talent, players like Alexandro need to make the most of every chance in the 90. Poor touch by Alves, deflects away.
5 against 1.
Ilicic, Bernardeschi looking for the angle, but as you point out, how quickly Juve comes back and puts numbers around the ball.
Just impossible. They wanted to try the counter-attack. Kalinic was behind the midfield line. He had to bring up the ball 1 against 5. And we're talking about Kalinic, not Salah, Gervinho, not exactly the counter player. The others very slow to come from behind to help him, but especially the ability of Juventus to recover the position so quickly, not leaving any space, and there is only half an hour still staying of this game.
Talk about the transfers that have been brought in, and it's not that Fiorentina have been quiet, but defender in Di Maio, and that wasn't even done until yesterday, I believe. Over to the far side, Dybala, overlap for Alves, pops it in the air. Alexandro and Mandzukic looking for it cleared away. Well, maybe a chance up for Kalinic. Tripped up. The ball free, no foul, says the ref. Bilic, a defender. Bring in another defender from Holland and Kevin Deeks, a goalkeeper, and a lot of young midfielders. No one really to fill the shoes of the departed Mario Gomez. Maybe hoping that for once Giuseppe Rossi will stay healthy.
The only good thing, as you mentioned, for Fiorentina is that 28 minutes to go and only 1 year.
Isic presses it wide. Bernardeschi against Barzagli. Into the area, the youngster still holds on, but doubled down by Alves. And he sneaks the pass through, but Badel was there.
And if Fiorentina has been lucky enough to still be alive in spite of playing nothing so far, so why not bring it on Giuseppe Rossi? If you are playing like that, just transition and very hard transition, why not Giuseppe Rossi?
And if you want more possession, why not Amati Fernandez? They do have some weapons in reserve. Nice from Dybala, pops up on Asamoah. Returns a bad bounce into a good break.
Maybe having the perspective of more responsibility helped Asamoah to be more confident, seeing that there was no Pogba ahead of him. As we said, Vidal obviously already left 1 year ago. Although not Giuseppe Rossi, but Carlos Sanchez is ready to come in.
Sanchez, the Colombian by way of Uruguay, on loan from Aston Villa. Normally you'd imagine that would be for Badel, but Vecino carrying a caution. So a decision for Sosa to make. Skips away from Bernardeschi.
It's one of those decisions when you actually want to be conservative about the result. Fiorentina have to shake the situation. Have to do it with someone that can offer them something more offensively. It's pretty easy because they've done nothing offensively.
And the hands tied a bit by the decision to start Chiesa, burning that substitution to stick Teo in to start the second half. So after this switch, it will only be one. He's going to roll the dice. Vecino, perhaps more the attacking option. He'll leave him out there with the caution, and it will be a straight swap. Sanchez for Badel. 30-year-old Colombian. Spent some time in Uruguay, as we mentioned, in France with Valenciennes, Spain with Elche, England with Aston. He's punched the passport quite a bit.
Yeah, reminds me of my years of Erasmus in university. But he probably was not lucky in the club that he signed for in Premier League, because to be honest, Aston Villa don't help you to shine.
Let's see. Looks like a bit of a spark. An effort by Alves to win it. Here is Sanchez. He's got a good shot. Doesn't use it all the time, but it is a weapon. Teo on his left, chipping it to nowhere. Almost touched back by Lemina. Chiellini was ready. Alexandro running out of real estate and lands awkwardly on the sideline.
Well, 7 Juventus players against Fiorentina, and it just seemed helpless, the try that Teo did.
The rest of the world might have been waiting to see what happened with Paul Pogba, but from a Juventus perspective, they've been waiting to see this. Gonzalo Higuain. And Zukic out, Higuain in. The Capocannonieri going to the champions, and he opened his account early.
We called that, because we said the only thing missing for the Juventus is closing this game. Close the game, maybe you need a better finisher and better than.
He's not shy about taking his chances. But right now, this is the best possession we've seen from Fiorentina. Trying to pin Juve back. One thing again, deceptively with Juventus, they're quite content with a 1-0 lead to just hang around their own area as long as you don't get too close.
You hear that noise of punches against the wall? That probably was coming from Naples, because one thing is knowing that Higuain moved to Juventus, but when you see your ex-girlfriend hanging around with your fiercest rival, that makes quite a reaction.
Sanchez tried to rip the shot through, deflected straight back to Fiorentina. Vecino and Sanchez. This should allow Bernardeschi and Alonso to push up even more in the attack. But really, it seems like Kalinic needs more help.
Although Sanchez shouted to Tomovic to just play the ball wide, because there is always 3 on the other side. Marcos Alonso is having a bit of space, but the ball is just moving too slow. Now he's trying. Badly, but at least he's trying.
Oh, skips up, and apologies from Astori. Paulo Sousa learning a bit from this opening match. Will be able to at least walk away with a point as Lichtsteiner loosening up for Juve.
Maybe the only unhappy face that Juventus will see today. Lichtsteiner doesn't really have an easy character, and knowing that he won't start anymore, Dani Alves is ahead of him. He was already complaining. He hinted that he could leave Juventus. Maybe it's just too late to leave, but maybe the only unhappy face.
Well, you talk about Alves, the other question, and there are rumors that things could be coming to a close at Chelsea. Cuadrado's still out there.
Cuadrado's still out.
If that is the case, Lichtsteiner definitely might want to make sure the suitcase stays packed. Did show some versatility last year when Barzagli was out, slotting into that back 3, but you'd figure even more so this season that might be Rugani's job. But it's a wealth of talent for Allegri.
Obviously, he's not a direct competitor, Cuadrado, for Lichtsteiner, because he's probably helping Allegri to switch the system with a 3-man up front. But that obviously is coming from your side, your winger. So, considering that Lichtsteiner is offensive, if Cuadrado will be playing, there is Dani Alves. When Cuadrado will be playing, there will be even less space, obviously, for the Swiss.
Bernardeschi out wide. Alonso. Bernardeschi slips. Alonso keeps possession. Sanchez tries to drive it in, drops it to the feet of Teo, gets around Alexandro, looking for Kalinic, but deflected at the last moment. That might have had equalizer written all over if it weren't for Bonucci.
Juventus aren't conceding so many chances like that, aren't doing really so much mistakes like that in a game. So you have to make the most of that. Tejo was good enough in doing that. Kalinic wasn't ready. Again, why not to put a quick player like Giuseppe Rossi there in the middle?
Rossi spent the second half of last season on loan at Levante. Could not save them in La Liga. Over to the back post, headed in, and Kalinic delayed, not denied. And Juventus pays the price for their wasteful finishing. It's 1-1 with 20 minutes left.
Now that is a surprise. The only real chance that Fiorentina had so far, and they not even got close to Buffon goal, and it's a second mistake again from Alexandro. It was his fault on the corner kick considered when Tejo dribbled him, and this defending of Alexandro on Kalinic, although it shouldn't be Alexandro marking on Kalinic.
Should be one of the
kick.
BBC.
Yes, indeed.
Well, Kalinic from the corner, and with 20 minutes remaining, we are tied at 1 on the very first shot on target on the night for Fiorentina.
And now don't miss these last 20 minutes, because the 70 minutes have been everything easy for Juventus. There's a bit of a shock. Juventus bossing just all over the pitch. Now I want to see the reaction. There is Higuain in, so it's gonna be something close to the idea of Juventus, of what Juventus want to be this season if they want the title and the Champions League.
Kalinic offside. Ilicic with the corner, Kalinic with the finish. Still a sub left for Paulo Sousa. 2 wild cards left in the pocket for Allegri. Talked about the good first start last season for Kalinic. But the goals trickled to a close when they needed him at the end. Big Croatian, spending some time at Blackburn before moving to Ukraine for Dnipro, which is where he blossomed. Ended up with 12 goals last season for Fiorentina.
Fiorentina seem to have switched to 4-4-2 now to defend the goal. There is seemed that Marcos Alonso is tracking back, and only Ilicic and Kalinic up front, with Ilicic obviously playing a bit behind Kalinic.
Tomovic with another look. Took it right on the crown, and maybe just a bit woozy as Alexandro tried to drive that one in. But finishing the thought on Kalinic, 12 goals last season. But Tancredi, 10 coming before Christmas, and none in the final month of the season.
So we can imagine that he enjoyed too much panettone in the 2 weeks of break, which I can't blame him, obviously.
Well, he better score a few more, otherwise Paulo Sousa might not be able to enjoy the panettone. Ba-dum-bum. 74th minute, and now if Tomovic is unable to continue, that takes a damper to Fiorentina's hopes, but right now they are going through at least a bit of the concussion protocol, making sure he's okay.
That's a key moment. Fiorentina with 10 men. One that is off is one of the 3 centre-back. They better stay tight. Juventus are great in making the most of these little breaks.
And again, they could conceivably drop Alonso back to a left-back position even tighter. Maybe Bernardeschi or Vecino helping out Chalo Rodriguez on the right side, but from Juventus perspective, blood in the water, and now's not a time for mercy. And they are going right at that spot, although Tomovic in, but behind the play. Asamoah finding Khedira, deflected, falls for Higuain, and the goal knocked home. A debut goal that might just be a winner, capping it off for Juve.
Fiorentina, you should listen to us. This was the moment when defending more tight with Tomovic out. Once again, Khedira in the box. Once again, that have break the balance between the attacking phase of Juventus and the defensive phase of Fiorentina. Left there alone, he could then take the attention from the Fiorentina defenders. Higuain finding the space. You just can't leave one player like that. And then the deflection, Higuain over there on the left. And we have seen a glimpse then of the Juventus tremendous comeback that could be in this season, having Higuain on the pitch.
On the field for just over 8 minutes, and he's already opened his account.
I wouldn't want to be in Naples in this moment, you know. Like everybody wishing him, oh, you see, he has had that pounds. He's not going to recover any soon. It will be hard for him. I wouldn't want to be in Naples at the moment.
Napoli, of course, still have to be considered a Champions League contender. Something we haven't really talked about is Champions League. The reports coming out from our good buddy Gab Marcotti about the changes in UEFA to try and stymie some of the big clubs from splintering away. But it might be Italy that, I don't want to say pays the price, but at least ends up losing the way the story ends. Finally on the verge of passing England to grab a 4th spot as is, and England perhaps losing a berth.
Yeah, basically Italy and Germany would be the one taking the biggest advantage from the new changes, because would have a guaranteed 4th spot.
A guaranteed spot, but you almost might be winning it back anyway. England could be considered a benefactor that they would hold on even if they continue to stumble. Atrosano will start this one out. Reno and Milan will continue our Serie A coverage tomorrow just before noon Eastern. BNSports.com. The phone giving Alexandro something to deal with. And it forces the turnover. Bernardeschi pushed forward, tripped up by Dani Alves. And all of a sudden it seems as though Fiorentina finding a bit of a spark. If only they could have kept Higuain off the board.
Was really the Tomovic staying out that have made Fiorentina be unprepared for that action, because first Khedira was left alone, then Higuain was left alone on the deflection. It's like already one of those mistakes is pretty bad and unusual, and doing twice within a few seconds.
Tomovic had stepped back onto the field, but whether it was being woozy, flat-footed, unaware.
He didn't recall the position, maybe?
He was basically a cone on the field for Juve to run around. Still out there at the bottom of the screen, and he appears to be okay. Little clip to the heels, but realizing running out of time. Ilicic now tried to get through Chiellini. Good pressure forces the turnover from Asamoah. Bit of a gift. Theo. So good at crossing the ball, so good at driving on goal back in his early days at Barcelona. Haven't seen much of that yet. And forgot something along the way. Alexandro. Pressure. Winning it back. Quietly, even on the scoreboard in the first half. It's been a quiet game, but a good game for Khedira. Lemina. Slices in front of Sanchez. Wide for the German. Good run for Higuain, and he almost got a second. Still not done. Alexandro. Lemina. What a start that would have been.
It's very strange, because the same situation last year almost made won the league to Higuain when he was playing for Napoli, and he had only that small chance, a ball coming from the right wing and saved, deflected at the very last second by Bonucci. Exactly in the same way, with a flying tackle. Now got the Juventus shirt.
And you could see hands to face for Higuain, thinking what might have been.
Here it comes.
Well, the Azzurri from Jersey about to enter. Giuseppe Rossi will replace Josip Ilicic. Did well in his time at Levante and got some minutes that he wouldn't have gotten otherwise. Was not able to save the Valencian club from going down in La Liga, but it was enough to get him back in the good graces at Fiorentina.
Not sure that taking out Ilicic was the right thing to do. It's not that he has been brilliant, but even 1 minute ago we saw when he received the ball, he was the only one that before giving it away was thinking and looking around where to pass it and still able to protect it from 3 Juventus players pressing him. So
now maybe it's a big gamble, but again Vecino with the yellow card. Take out a holding mid, leave Ilicic out there. But is that too easy for Juventus?
It's 10 minutes to go, so
driven into the middle, just deflected away by the captain Rodriguez. Chiellini keeps it in play. I tend to agree with you as he plays Teo for the tackle. Carlos Sanchez can cover a lot of real estate for 10 minutes, so why not keep the extra attacker out there?
And then again, you are losing by 1 goal. It's 10 minutes. You are already struggling in delivering the ball anywhere, and Ilicic is the one that can do it better than anybody else in your team.
Alexandro backs it down in the corner. Maybe time to get a little practical. Don't need a third, but Asamoah has a go. Left-footed shot deflects. Lemina with a nice ball, destined for the corner, but Tatarusanu pushes it around the post.
Staggering how easy Juventus can find the space, can find the goal. There's like no position till the edge of the box. And let's remind, they are playing at home, but not against Crotone, against, I don't know, with all due respect, Sampdoria. It's against Fiorentina, which was the one putting the biggest threat to their ground in the past season.
An edge of the 6, flying in Alexandro, maybe trying to make up for his blunder that led to the Kalinic goal. Backfield from Higuain, and now Asamoah with time. Sends it high and far. Sanchez. And Dybala smartly lets it run as the clock continues to tick. We saw a little bit there on that shot from Lemina. As we said, he's more than just a pretty face.
Are you gonna throw in a comparison with Pogba?
He's got some of the skill, even if he doesn't show it as much. And then again, it's another nice weapon to have in the holster.
Definitely.
Plucked away from Marseille midway through last season.
Juventus got several offers from Lemina, but when Juventus are selling, there is always a reason why. They did it well with Pirlo because he gave up basically with European football. They did it with Vidal because to deal with his disciplinary situation was getting harder and harder. They did it with Pogba because he couldn't renounce to 145 million euros. Well,
it paid for the stadium.
Yes, it paid the stadium actually, but they wouldn't do it with Lemina. It's just too soon. Maybe the only thing that you can criticize for, the only selling for which you can criticize for Juventus is when they sold Coman last year. But to be honest, when Bayern came with 25 millions, everybody thought that someone got crazy among the Bavarians. They weren't, but everybody thought it was a good business to sell Coman for 25.
And still might prove, although did well at PSG, showed flashes with Juve. See what Ancelotti is able to do. It's Real and Barcelona stars exchanging pleasantries. Dybala will exit. Of course, his ex-Palermo mate, Franco Vasquez, making the move to Sevilla. Interesting to see them tomorrow. The Argentine will be replaced by Patrice Evra.
You know, I
expect
saw
Alexandro to push up and Evra to slot in at left back.
I saw Evra doing, I think he was doing the gesture of 4-3-3. So he playing as left back, obviously, but Dani Alves and Alexandro up front with Khedira, Lemina and Asamoah. Maybe this is what he was saying.
And again, only about 5 minutes. Higuain pushing up. See if Fiorentina can solve the puzzle in the time remaining. Little changes like that change the angles, change the passing lanes. For Bernardeschi. For Rossi. Over Kalinic. Evra with his first test. Teo brings it down to the goal line, drives it across, but Chiellini was there. Second chance for the Spaniard. Threads it in and almost driven home by Vecino, but his shot sails high. Good play by Teo.
It was a big danger. It was very well played by Teo. Once and twice, it wasn't easy at all to see Vecino in between all those Juventus legs. Juventus have switched seem to have switched at least to 4-5-1 with Evra more on the defense line and only Higuain up front, obviously.
Action from Madrid as La Liga underway tomorrow. Real Madrid visiting Real Sociedad. That'll start tomorrow at 2, immediately followed by Atletico at home against Alaves. Just after 4 Eastern time. So many questions the way La Liga will close out. Similar stories here in Serie A. Everyone thinking that Juventus a heavy favorite for their 6th straight title. Fiorentina showing that there might just be a vulnerability though. And Roma earlier today showing that they might be the type that could take advantage of the big 4-0 win.
At least let us believe that.
For a couple of weeks. Of course, everyone thought Juve was dead and buried 10 weeks in last year. Buffon. Fiorentina finally turning the pressure up in the 87th minute. Paulo Sousa trying to move the pieces of the puzzle around. Asamoah gets around Chalo. Can't bring him down, does Rodriguez, but good pressure by Vecino and presence of mind to jump in front and draw the foul. Bit of time wasting, perhaps another substitute as Hernanes off the bench.
Coming from Lemina.
Khedira, the goal scorer.
Range. Anyway, seem to be kept till the end. Though the 88 minutes seems more like wasting time. Asamoah dribbling Gonzalo Rodriguez even pretty easily. Rodriguez being one of the best centre backs in the last season. Asamoah that had simply disappeared almost. Well, that tells a lot on the performance of Asamoah. And Juventus could have surprisingly find a starting player for the midfield that they just didn't thought to have anymore.
Still time in the transfer window, but not much. So maybe a chance to show Hernanes off, even if it is just for a few minutes. He's been one of those rumored to be on his way out. Inside for Carlos Sanchez. Even with these flurries in the second half, even with the goal from Kalinic, Paulo Sousa can't be pleased. Hernanes. Sai.
Actually, that goal that Fiorentina found would play against Paulo Sousa, because now the ownership could think, see, you actually have a team good enough to challenge Juventus that seems so better than you. But if we look at how the game has been, there has been only those around some 5 minutes from Fiorentina.
Hernanes lost the ball and a panic swing around brings down Bernardeschi. 90th minute reached. I mean, not just with a touch, but you could see the cleats slid in the turf and he might be hurt. Our man of the match, Gonzalo Higuain. 8 minutes in and already opening his account. Khedira up for consideration as well with a goal and the shot that led to this.
Say Khedira, I would say also Samoa.
Bayo caressing that one nicely. Kalinic. Is there still time? Giuseppe Rossi opens up. Now Sanchez. Sloppy pass.
Couldn't receive not even one ball, Giuseppe Rossi. The only one he could play was when he tracked back something like
Asamoah again. Ooh. Tomovic flying in, cleats extended, and the card already out. Alexandro paying the price. And even worse for Fiorentina, the ball stops.
Did he get away lucky, getting only a yellow card?
Cleat, well, he pulls out at the last moment. Paulo Sousa not screaming at the referee there, screaming more to Tomovic. Juve bleeding the clock, and part of the 5 added minutes already trickling away. Bellini for Evra. Lets it run. Smart from Tomovic this time. I mentioned Juventus taking on Lazio in Rome next weekend. Fiorentina will open their home campaign a week from tomorrow against Chievo.
Start for Juventus is very tough. Fiorentina at home, traveling to Lazio, then Sassuolo at home, and Sassuolo started the season before anybody else for the preliminary rounds of Europa League.
Tripped over everyone.
And then Inter Juve on September 18th. Allegri knows that this start could change a lot, because if he wants to succeed in Champions League, it will be better to close the Serie A task as soon as possible, and so not wasting these points.
Normally you'd think Sassuolo would be a bit of a breather, but they might be one of the toughest of that opening 5. Mentioned a 3-0 win against Red Star in European play. Then things get just a bit easier. Cagliari, Palermo, Empoli, Udinese before the showdown at Milan in October. Rossi headed in the wrong direction. Clash of 22s.
This is an experienced foul. Actually, Asamoah didn't seem to do anything bad, but Rossi was good enough to protect the ball, the body, and to make it look like he was receiving a foul.
18 shots to 4. Despite the 18 shots for Juve, just 3 on target. Perhaps fortunate that 2 have gone in. The line at the top of the 18. Buffon near the top of his 6. Bernardeschi sending it to the back post for Alonso. Soaring in the air, Barzagli, and he draws the foul in the process. Brilliant play from the veteran defender.
Marcos Alonso shouted, "Ma che fallo è?" What the kind of foul is this? And actually he's right. As we said about Giuseppe Rossi, it took an experienced foul. This one, Barzagli, was a very senior foul. But how badly Bernardeschi took that free kick?
There's no chance. 94th minute. Khedira scoring 8 minutes before the break. Midway through the second, Kalinic equalized on the first shot on goal. Dani Alves making his presence felt. Khedira almost had a second, but it was deflected, but right into the path of Gonzalo Higuain as his first shot finds pay dirt. Alves renews his rivalry with Carlos Sanchez. Last minute, last gasp. Vecino headed in the wrong direction. Pedrusano. Gonzalo. And a panic pass and a smart play by Alves as Juve continues to watch the sand.
As you said, it's 8 years since Fiorentina not beating Juventus at home, but barely I remember a more frustrating performance, even if the score sheet is only 2-1. We will have to understand if it is everything merit of Juventus or a lot of fault from Fiorentina.
Alexandro dribbling in towards the area, back for Lemina, has a goal and tries to caress it in. Slapped wide by Tatarusano. Juve doesn't need a third goal. In fact, you could argue it would have been better just to play this one out, but they will get the corner and time should run out, as it has. Kalinic with the goal that gave Fiorentina hope, but sandwiched in beside Khedira and Higuain. 2-1 Juve, the final.
It is incredible the way that Juventus have feeling comfortable for the 90 minutes. That goal could only be a little alarm, but nothing to worry about.
Well, it is a great love story for those in Turin. Hearts broken by Fiorentina. Juventus also damaging a few in Napoli in the process. Take a look at the round one underway. Roma convincing at home, although that one was deceptive as well. Scoreless midway through the second. Juventus with the big win. And then tomorrow, there's some interesting ties. Who is going to challenge? Inter on the road at Chievo. Sassuolo against Palermo.
And that is the comeback of Insigne in Pescara.
Well, celebrations for Higuain and the old lady. Thanks to Tancredi Palmieri and for all involved. I'm Phil Shane. Don't forget, stick around. Extra with Kay Murray and company coming your way. More on the Serie A and La Liga openers. Juve 2, Fiorentina 1. So long, everybody.
Your clearance. Yes, sir. You know, at the Model Year-End Clearance event, you can get a great deal on this 2016 Passat.
Steve.
Yeah.
Clarence is on a roll.
Yeah. Wish I'd name an event after me.
Same here. But the Model Year and Becky event?
That's no good.
Oh.
Steve-ent.
That's just vandalism.
Whatever you want to call it, don't miss the Volkswagen Model Year-End event. Hurry in for a $1,000 Volkswagen reward card and 0% APR on a new 2016 Passat.
Nothing worth doing has ever been easy, because trying and doing the things that are hard has a way of proving its worth. And at Valvoline, we've spent the last 150 years proving ours. Like Valvoline Full Synthetic Motor Oil, specially formulated to deliver our best performance and protection to keep you and your engine moving forward. Valvoline, 150 years under the hood.
You have a vision. It drives you. It inspires you. It's why you can see what others can't. You know what you want, and we can help you get it. You need options? We've got all kinds. Start with a photo. Add your logo. Get it just right. Want to make it pop? Try a special finish. If you need help, we can do it for you. And if you want a premium paper, we've got that too. You want it done right, so we absolutely guarantee the paper, the printing, even your design. Every time, for any reason. Because you have a vision, and we have your card. 500 start at just $9.99 when you enter promo code BC500 at Vistaprint.com.
Tomorrow, speed and football on BN Sports. We begin early in the morning with MotoGP, live from the Czech Republic. Then, the Serie A. Milan hosts Torino, followed by 2 La Liga matches, Real Sociedad versus Real Madrid, and Atletico Madrid versus Alaves. on beIN Sports.
FIA World Rallycross Championship. The best drivers of the planet are here on beIN Sports.
We know it was tough. We were waiting too. But the wait is over. Not only is the Serie A back, but La Liga is too. A league full of superstars, and two of its best were shining bright today for Barcelona. We've got beyond, and they're all here for your viewing pleasure on tonight's Extra. Welcome back, football. We've been expecting you, and so far, you have not disappointed. Hello and welcome to a full house for tonight's Extra. We've got plenty to look back on over the next hour and 15 minutes. And I'm actually really glad that Andres Cordero is here with me to play mediator, because Thomas Rongan and Tancredi Palmieri are sat next to one another. But Thomas, I heard that Tancredi unfollowed you on Twitter.
Well, first of all, this guy's got a great Twitter game. Very knowledgeable. All the Italian stuff that I have here today, I get from his Twitter account. But I challenged him once 2 days ago, and he just blocked me. I mean, well, you know.
Tancredi, explain yourself. How dare you? How dare you block
Not
Thomas
true.
Rongan?
Usually, I not even block when they tell me that I'm fat and bald. So I could block him. It must have been just because.
Thomas, did you say he was fat and bald?
No, I did not.
Okay.
I compliment him all the time.
Okay, well then, hopefully throughout the course of this show, we will bring you back together and you'll be best friends at the end of it. Let's get started by talking about that game between Juventus and Fiorentina. Tancredi Palmieri was in the booth for this one with Phil Shane. We were looking to see what we'd get from Juventus after what was a very slow start for them last season. Higuain on the bench, but not throughout the whole game in this one. He did come on in the second half. Max Allegri known for some slow starts to the season in his history, but let's talk through this one then, guys.
It was a bit helpless, Fiorentina. I know, we know how hard it's going to be for everybody. But Fiorentina, we must remind, last year were the one that put the most dangerous threat at the Juventus ground. And tonight they probably played only 5 minutes in the 90 when they find the goal, when they had another chance. It's not enough to do that.
That's Chiellini, by the way, who delivers that ball. And it's not unusual. It's not unusual at all.
Most likely assist and goal scorer for Juve.
To be honest, to see Bonucci, Barzagli, Chiellini with the most touches at the end of a Juve game is not a surprise at all. He can deliver those kinds of balls. And he was a left back, so it was just flashing back to his old days there, Chiellini.
And you can't leave that space all the time to Chiellini to see, oh, where is my teammate? Oh, I'll put just the ball there.
And the interesting part, too, is obviously Higuain comes in, scores the winner, basically, after obviously Fiorentina gets back to 1-1.
Yep, Kalinic was off to a terrific start last season in Serie A, mimics that here with a debut goal as well. But Juve let Fiore back into this game. They put their foot off the gas way too early, sat really, really deep thinking they couldn't do any damage they could. And then they say that Higuain needs a team to play for him. It's a poacher's goal there for Gonzalo Higuain. No help needed, and debut goal for him as well.
We'll obviously talk about Higuain because it's the story of the day, as he was the story of the summer. But look about Khedira. He scored the first goal, he missed a huge chance for another goal, and here actually is the one, his action being by himself there in the box. That movement, that cut-in gave the chance of deflection that then Higuain could use.
And the interesting thing going forward, you know, Higuain comes in for Mandzukic, are they going to play together up front? I really doubt it. So Mandzukic probably has to sit.
Exactly.
Let's get started with a look with our beIN Optics at the first goal in this one. Sami Khedira had missed a chance earlier on in the first half and had been criticised for that, but he didn't miss later on. We'll show you the first chance that he did have. What did you make of this one, Andres?
Well, Tancredi's absolutely right in that Khedira is much more attack-minded, much more offensive at Juventus than he ever was, either with Germany or with Real Madrid, anywhere else in his career. He has that license to go forward now. We saw it all of last season, and we saw it here again, where he probably should have done better with that first one. We're dead spot on about that. Had options to either side as well. But Khedira is now an attacking threat, a legitimate attacking threat.
I think the reason being Asamoah plays very well today as well. And the young player, Lemina, as well in midfield, allows Khedira now to play a little bit more forward.
Imagine the frustration for the others. In the summer, in the season, where you bring in Higuain,
Look at this one, he's
Pjanic.
asking for it. This is an attack-minded Sami Khedira, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but go ahead.
Yeah, and the midfielder that took over on him, I think it was Badeli, is just letting him go. But honestly, last season it was the same, the times that Khedira was in. But this season there is no more Pogba.
Yep.
There is no more, obviously, even Vidal. So it's all, so far at least, it's all about Khedira. Even when Pjanic will come in. But Pjanic, when he's scoring, he's not scoring because he cut into the box. He's scoring because he got free kick.
Yep.
He's scoring because he's getting the rebounds from some shot. So it's all about Khedira. You know, it's that one player. So once again, Juventus are huge, very good, but how bad has been Fiorentina? The few tasks missing that.
Allegri has done a great job in the last 2 or 3 years. Vidal leaves, Tevez leaves as well, Pogba leaves. Yep. In that spine in midfield, he's always finding a way to continue to be very strong, which is the axis for him. So Allegri is become a little more flexible than Conte. He still plays over 3-5-2, but Khedira is a great example. He's given him the license to go forward now.
So Khedira got the opener, but the winner in this one was Gonzalo Higuain, and what a story that is. Coming on in this one, and what was it, Tancredi? 8 minutes he was on the pitch until he scores?
Yeah, barely. And I think, you probably heard that too, even if we are in a studio that got sound isolated, you heard probably all those punches thrown at the wall in Naples. Because really, you can hope for it. You know that it's going to be good, but everybody in Naples, obviously, were hoping that at least
he looks in good shape, actually. He doesn't look like a gordo anymore. Eh?
Round is a shape.
Yeah, absolutely.
He lost a little bit of weight.
Yeah, absolutely. They have to make him work.
Maybe he's bringing out an exercise video, and that was the plan all along. You know, look heavy in the summer, and then they ask
Khedira making those runs out of deep midfield. And then Higuain does a great job, actually, just spinning off a little bit, allowing Khedira to get in there. And then the poacher, as you said, he's going to score a lot of goals again this year.
What a ball by Asamoah there as well to find Paulo Dybala in the middle. He's such a versatile player as well. Remember under Antonio Conte, he was playing out wide as one of the wingers in that 3-5-2. He's also filling in that midfield central role. But Gonzalo Higuain scored a goal every 82 minutes last season when he got his record 36. Took 8 minutes. First chance that he got in this game, he tucked it away. I don't know that he's going to get anywhere close to 30 once more, but he's got to be the #1 contender for Capocannoniere.